Well, a warm welcome to you all on this Friday. That's right, it's Friday Live. I am JJ. I am a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat beef, bacon, butter, eggs, and coffee.
And you've added.
Oh, some secret oxalate containing foods in order to try to stave off the oxalate dumping apocalypse.
Which we'll get to in a little while. Oh my gosh. So I traveled last Friday. I think we were saying that I was getting ready to travel.
Yep.
And as I'm planning to go and I'm looking at where my hotel location is. I'm traveling down to Indianapolis and I'm like so worried about what I'm going to eat. And this is especially because in the past I've been gluten-free for about almost 13 years. And so I'm always like, okay, where can I get gluten-free food? So I was sort of in that same mode. And lo and behold, I realized it was sort of a no-brainer. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. There's a McDonald's, there's a Culver's, there's a Steak and Shake, there's a Shake Shack. Like I can go anywhere almost and get beef patties. So it was like this big, or as you mentioned, I could also just fast,
Right.
which I considered. I just wasn't sure it was a family event and I wasn't sure what things were going to look like and if fasting would be the strategy. It was
Mhm.
not, by the way. But it was such a duh moment of going, wait a minute, I literally don't have to worry because I can get burgers almost anywhere so easily.
But was it hard? This was a funeral.
Yes.
So in the family get together afterwards, was it hard to avoid the junk food that was around?
No, it was pretty good. I really lucked out because, again, I didn't know how things were going to be. At the church, they had some snacks and I had some cheese and a couple berries. Yep, I know. Well, and I didn't know what was coming either. So I had that. And then we went back to a family member's house and they had catered in barbecue. Oh my gosh. So this was City Barbecue, which I didn't realize was a chain at that time, but I realized it now because it was so good. Oh my gosh. There are probably people out there like from Texas or Kansas City or something who are going, "Oh, City Barbecue." Ugh. But for this northern girl,
Yeah.
I could not believe how good the meat was. They had pulled pork and pulled chicken. So I piled up my plate with both. Even the chicken had a ton of flavor and it was the seasonings.
Do you think it was chock full of MSG?
I don't think so.
But you didn't have a negative reaction when you got home.
No. But yeah, it was just delicious. The chicken was good and the pork, mwah, it needed no sauce, no condiments. I mean, I'm excited about this. So the next day, that was Saturday and Sunday, again, I had a gap between when my hotel checkout was and when I could leave. And I'm like looking for places. Where can I go? Just hang out, maybe do some work. And there was a barbecue place. And I was like, wait a minute, where's City Barbecue? So I typed it in several locations around the Indianapolis area. And so I went to City Barbecue the next day and I had their brisket and their pulled pork.
And it was good.
So good. So good. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is Indianapolis. Where is this chain? Is there any what is it? Not outlet. Any
Location?
yes. In Wisconsin. And so I searched and lo and behold, there is not. But there are a few in Illinois.
Yeah.
And the lo and behold is that there is one 50 minutes from our new property. So that's kind of within the realm of going to get some.
It better deliver when we go there.
Well,
because that's a long round trip.
that'll be interesting. Well, I mean, that's almost to Milwaukee now,
Yeah.
so it's not too far out, but it is a little more population dense down that direction toward Chicago. And you and I often have very different taste buds, like very
Yeah.
differing food food likes and dislikes. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. You might be like, "Eh, it's not that great."
So City Barbecue,
City barbecue.
anybody ever had it? I see that people are flowing in. Let us know where you're from. Um, and if you are good at traveling on Carnivore. I haven't had to do it. I mean, we did a trip to California in January, and I stayed Carnivore for 1 day, and then I sort of fell off
Mhm.
the wagon and got stuff delivered from DoorDash from all over.
Now, while we did that traveling, I decided to do a non-negotiable, which was more keto. But my non-negotiable on that trip was no grains. I had no grains. So I didn't go crazy. I did pretty well on that trip, but it wasn't purely carnivore.
If we were to do a trip now, I don't think that I would be as loose because I feel like I've worked so hard to get where I'm at,
Mhm.
and a week away can do a lot of damage, and I don't want all of the things back that I've gotten rid of. But I have not been challenged yet by travel. It'll come. So, in our last video, I mentioned, and which we'll be talking about in a minute because we have some comments we want to share about it. It was actually this one, Carnivore, the two paths of Carnivore, the rocky path, the smooth path. Let us know if you saw that one. I mentioned that I had actually given up eggs briefly because I was just testing out to see if maybe they were causing something. And I didn't do it for very long because I was pretty skeptical the eggs were an issue, and it didn't make any difference.
I wish I'd known you added eggs back in. I would have got some today at the grocery store.
So I did a few days without eggs, and then I did yolks only, and then I had full eggs today, and it was the same every single day. So I don't know. But I also have developed a list of like 8 things right now that could be contributing to some of the rockiness in my carnivore
Oh,
path.
really?
And so this is one of those difficult issues you face when you're trying to troubleshoot something, because the temptation is change it all, because then you can get relief from the problem,
Or hopefully.
but you won't know which one of the 8 things that you changed was responsible. So, I do think that I've done enough time adding back oxalate containing foods to say with a fair degree of certainty that it's not helping. So,
Yeah.
I guess I won't continue to add those for much longer, even though I kind of like the 100% dark chocolate that I was nibbling on
Which is
in small,
crazy
very small quantities.
to me that tastes, because I did try some one day too. And it tasted really good. And in the past, I would have been just like, ugh.
Well, I don't remember where this one was recommended from, but it was supposedly a really good, I can't even remember what the brand was. It doesn't matter. Don't eat it. It's full of other terrible things. I'm sure somebody in the comments or the chat will say, you can't eat chocolate. It will kill you with cyanide or something. But I'm trying to troubleshoot a problem, and that's one of the things that I was adding
And I just had to try it because,
because you had to.
because I just had to.
So I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of elements that it seemed like oxalates, and maybe it is, and maybe adding back the oxalates just isn't changing anything enough for me to notice. But there it is. I'm on the rocky path, but I'm not stopping. You're on the smooth path, taunting me with your happy delight.
Actually, my happy delight this week. So I traveled to that funeral. I thought I might fast during my travels, did not. And but this week I'm feeling like it's time to pull a fast
Oh,
because
yeah.
my mood is not, I'm just feeling like my head is a little full of stuff and I'm not as optimal as I normally am. Now, there is a complicating factor, though, in that we got our beef
Oh, yes.
from Bit on Beef. Is that right?
Yep.
bitonbeef.com.
Yep.
So we have been doing videos or producing a video, doing recordings about our experience with the beef. And so I've had to eat this week.
It's tough. I know you have to eat some Wagyu beef.
It is so rough.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
But I do feel like I need to fast, and I think I'm going to do it Sunday. Sunday, I have a busy day with auditions for our youth theater group. I'm not auditioning. I'm one of the directors, and so I think that might be a good day to just pull it and try and do a nice fast and get back into my blissful state.
It's making me think because just today I was watching some YouTube channel about fasting, and I've seen that it doesn't. I can eat high fat, lower protein, and it doesn't really affect my ketone level on the Keto Mojo. But when I am really strict about the eating window, that's when my ketones start to go up. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to do a fast so I can get more into the therapeutic levels of ketosis that Dr. Eid talks about in her book to help with some of the anxiety issues that have been plaguing me of late. Now, if you're new to the channel, I had decades of bad anxiety, and my 40s was the worst.
Not good.
And I ended up going on an SSRI that helped me, and it evened everything out, and I felt good. On Carnivore, I was able to wean off of that, and I felt the same until recently. And I have not been able to figure out what's going on with that. But I'm not eager to go back on a med.
No.
When I don't feel like I've exhausted all the different things that I can try. And one of them is working harder to be in deeper ketosis. And that shouldn't be hard because I already don't want to eat any of the food that I have unless I'm really, really hungry, in which case then it tastes good. But usually I'm just not hungry enough to eat. So maybe I'll fast with you for a full 24 and see how it feels. And maybe I'll just keep going. Maybe this will become a fasting channel and we'll just count the days since I ate the last time.
Well, like I said, I really notice a difference when I get into that deep therapeutic ketosis.
Yeah.
And then for some reason it seems to carry, even though I'm not as deep on a day-to-day basis. But I just can feel it in my brain. It gets kind of, like I said, kind of cluttered, kind of busy, and my mood goes down. And that's sort of a signal to me. And then I fast and I'm back to normal. So yeah. To what my new normal is. My carnivore normal.
All right. Let's check in with our guests. Lily says, hello from Bimini in the Bahamas.
Hey.
Holy cow. We've been near the Bahamas many, many times in the port at Nassau.
Yeah. We do like going down to the Caribbean here and there, even when we're not cruising though, but we've never gone to the Bahamas.
No, we haven't. No. Good afternoon from Saskatoon. That's like thousands of miles in the opposite direction.
Definitely.
I think I've mentioned in the past, one of the best fishing trips I ever took was to Saskatchewan. Caught enormous fish. Lisa says, greetings from Southeast Indiana.
Hey, I was just there.
Where were you?
Indiana, the northern suburbs of Indiana, Fishers area.
Yeah. Let's see. Sandra. This is Sandra from Dublin, Ireland. Just found your channel recently. Enjoy your content. I do carnivore too.
Hello, Sandra from Ireland.
Now, I feel like I missed my opportunity because I just got a book on how to learn accents.
Yeah.
And I did not do this one first. I've been working on Australian. And I'm not going to premiere it here today because it is horrible. But this is next on my list, I think. So
oh my gosh.
I will pretend I heard you read this to me. Tracy Hall says, hello from Iowa.
Hello, Tracy.
There are enormous quantities of pig farms in Iowa. And a lot of corn, too.
And a lot of corn.
In a previous life, though, we sold some equipment to the hog industry, and Iowa was one of the big markets for that. Carnivore K started carnivore May 1st, was feeling great till recently.
Ah,
I feel terrible. I'm on the rocky path too. I'm so sorry to hear that, Kay. It can be a challenge. And of course, you're looking at all the resources. YouTube's full of them. And people will tell you maybe it's more fat, maybe you need more salt, maybe it's electrolytes. I wish I had the answer, because then I would do it. But there is an answer. That's one thing I believe with absolute certainty.
well, and I think this is a really important discussion because, for me, it was so easy and smooth. No, but I think mostly about Carrie Mann, Homestead How,
Hmm.
and people like him. And he has an incredible audience. And his path sounds like it was pretty smooth. And so there's this expectation that's set that that's how it's going to be. It's going to be smooth. Your problems are going to go away. Your health issues are going to be resolved. Mental health is going to be great. And I do believe that that will all happen, but I think it's a different timetable for different people.
Well, I mean, it's a common thing that we see. People say it takes a lifetime to get sick.
Mhm.
And so it can take some time to go through the healing process. And the healing process itself sometimes is uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yes, that is true.
And sometimes, I don't know, the way that I'm built, if I'm suffering, I kind of hear my dad's voice saying, well, that means you're doing it right, which is not always a good perspective to have on things. But it does allow me to go, well, maybe this discomfort, this reversal that I've had is part of the healing process. And there's no way for me to know until some months from now, or
No.
maybe it's a week from now. I don't know.
Yet I think there are two pieces to it. I'm a life coach. So I think there is a bit of surrender to it. This is where I'm at right now, this acceptance of where you're at right now.
Hmm.
And yet there is also at the same time holding the mindset that yes, things will get better.
Hmm.
And they're kind of paradoxical. And yet I really do believe you kind of need to hold them both in your mind of, okay, I'm not going to try to add to the suffering through mental suffering. So if you're having heart palpitations and just putting that out there, if you're having heart palpitations and you're obsessing about the heart palpitations, then you're adding and oh, why is this happening? What's going on? I don't know what's happening. Like you're adding mental suffering to the physical suffering. So I think there needs to be an okay, I'm having heart palpitations. But again, that doesn't mean you give up and go, oh well. You still are seeking the answers. So
Hmm.
it is this weird paradox. And I found with myself and with clients that it's a paradox that we kind of need to be in this type of situation.
I understand that intellectually.
I've just lost you all.
No, but no, it's true. But that is, I don't know how to phrase it. It's that the challenge is something you have to go through. You can't retreat from it. For me, carnivore isn't really an option. Now, whether or not I add back dairy or um, try these oxalate foods as a remedy to ease some of the discomfort, that's an experiment.
Yes.
But that is not saying carnivore doesn't work and I'm not committed to it. It's just I need to figure out how to get around the rocky path right now.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of truth to um, the the challenge is teaching you something, which
Mm.
I don't want to hear in the moment of having. I get PVCs, skipped heartbeats, and I've had them since I was, I don't know, 29 or something like that, because I had a supraventricular tachycardia.
Mhm.
I was exercising on a treadmill, and all of a sudden my heart rate went up to 200, and I said, that doesn't seem right. And so I ended up going to see a, what is it, an electrophysiologist, is a cardiologist that does the electrical stuff, and had an ablation that fixed that problem. But ever since, every once in a while, I get that little PVC that I notice because I'm hypersensitive to it, because you become hypersensitive when things are going wrong with your heart, right? But that hypersensitivity creates anxiety.
Mental suffering.
And then the anxiety draws attention to the sensation, and the attention amplifies the sensation, which then starts the cycle. And you can see that I'm smiling because it's my friend, and I have been walking this path with him or her. I don't know but if it's the anxiety is gendered or not. But when I'm kind of past it and able to deal with it, and right now I'm doing really well in handling it.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I would have been in the ER, flat on my back. I would have been useless. But I'm able to walk with it now because I have the skills, and I have them because I learned how to do it. So I don't know where that's going. It's a little bit of a sermon. Let's keep it happy. We're not that kind of a channel where we want to get too serious, at least not too often.
But Carnivore K,
we're with you. We feel you. Stay on the path and try things. Experiment, and see if something works.
and keep that mindset of experimentation, not, oh, this isn't working, this isn't working.
Check out all the Sally Norton stuff on oxalates, because that may be your issue. It might not be. Oh, let's see. Marie says, hi from New Jersey.
Hello.
Hello, how are you
Marie.
doing? In New Jersey, there's lots of dairy in New Jersey that I can't have right now. Tracy says, finally caught another live. It's been a while, just been busy. Well, we don't want to hear about how busy you've been. We got a lot of stuff going on.
We expect you here.
Yeah. Lisa says, I did the math. The answer is bacon. When I stopped eggs briefly, the amount of bacon I was having for my breakfast was comical.
Well, me going to the store today to buy your bacon was comical. I'm coming out with armloads of bacon, and little did I know you're back on the eggs.
But no, I still had way more bacon than is humanly rational this morning, because I was like, let me take the eggs down a little bit still. I want to ease my way back in. But I was really skeptical about eating a giant plate full of bacon, because even 20 plus months into carnivore, my brain still looks at that plate and sees all that fat, and it hears nonsense about nitrates or nitrites speaking in my ear. And I have to go, is this a good idea? Even after all this time and all of the benefits I've derived from carnivore, despite the rocky path, it's still hard to eat that plate of bacon without having a moment of hesitation. It was delicious, though.
I just listened to an interview, though, with 5 Minute Body, I think it was. And she talked to a nitric oxide expert.
Oh, I heard that one.
Doctor.
I watched that one.
Yeah, so maybe you just got a bunch of nitric oxide.
The nitric oxide just vasodilated me.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Sassy pie hole. I love that. Just a thought. I don't know how long you've been off the SSRIs, but with some, like Lexapro, even after withdrawal, a depression can return 5 to 6 months later. It's temporary. Just a thought. I think that's a very interesting thought, because when did I stop?
I don't know.
Seems like it was last fall.
You'd have to look into your journal.
Or was it this spring? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up. But it could be like a delayed whiplash.
Yeah, there's a boomerang.
Boomerang? I was going to say ricochet, but I was like, I don't think that's the right word. Well, that's one I haven't considered, Sassy.
But he will look into it, I'm sure.
I
he
will
looks into everything.
Definitely look into that one. Carnivore K says, I always have purse bacon. Now, that's something you have not instituted.
I did not institute that, but there's the Fatty brand beef stick. And for the first many, many months of carnivore, and even when I was just doing the fasting, I would carry a fatty beef stick with me. And it was there.
That's the brand?
That's the brand. It's called Fatty. And I would yeah, I'd have that in my purse just in case. And especially if I was doing a Sunday rehearsal, play rehearsal, and planning to eat after play rehearsal, I
Mhm.
had it in there just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Let's see. I do have not started pocket bacon, but that would be really nasty. Elva says, "Hi everyone, so good to catch this live." Well, Elva, I think it was you who no, it wasn't. It was somebody else. The fact that you're putting on eyeliner in your pick here threw me because there's somebody else who has some sort of makeup detail that caught me. But anyway, hello Elva. And we're going to move on to the next thing, which is, oh, how many of you, with a show of hands or emojis or thumbs ups or whatever you want to do, have seen our video featuring the great and powerful Amanda Radke?
Mhm.
This video came out, let's see, a week ago Sunday.
Is that it? It feels like
Yeah.
it's been longer than that.
Yeah. If you have not seen our interview with Amanda, it is easily the top 2 or 3 videos we've ever done.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And maybe the top one.
We talk about such amazing, deep carnivore issues in that. So it starts off all, hey, we're talking carnivore. She's been carnivore for 11 years. So we talk about that and then her experience as a cattle rancher. But then we go into all types of things facing the carnivore community right now. And so didn't someone posted it in Dr. Barry's group?
Yeah, I don't know who that was, but we saw traffic coming in from his private group.
But she I think you titled it too, what every carnivore
Needs to know about
needs to know.
beef, yeah.
I mean, it is just a phenomenal interview, and I would say that even if it weren't us.
Let's see.
No, it's so good.
I wanted to share just a few of the comments on it. Let me move this out of the way so we can see. An excellent interview. I wish she could talk to Congress. When I saw this, I was like, yes,
Mhm.
I wish she was in Congress.
Right. Right.
It has been a long time that I have learned so many things in 1 hour. Thank you. I learned so much. One of the best interviews ever. So there's been some pretty good interviews in the history of the world. So that might have been a little bit of hyperbole, but I'll take it.
Well, and I want to give you credit because you were the one who said we need to interview
Mhm.
this person. And you did a lot of research as well leading into it. And so I think that the work that you did to lay that groundwork to have such a fabulous conversation with her. And then she is just amazing.
Yeah.
So
If you want more from Amanda, she has an interview with the Carnitarian. What is her name? Linda Salant? I can't remember her. The Carnitarian on YouTube. There's another interview with Amanda. It's fantastic. And on Amanda's channel, she interviews the Carnitarian. So there's more Amanda content for you out there if you want to watch it. And for some reason, you're not just binging our videos to the exclusion of everything else. Because that really should be your priority. I don't really even know why I mentioned someone else's channel. Oh my. So anyway, let's get back to this. Great interview. This lady was wonderful and refreshing. Good luck to you and your cattle ranch and your carnivore lifestyle. Thank you very much, JJ, Eric, and Amanda, for this info-loaded conversation. Very enlightening and inspiring. Question raised by Eric helped elicit info that the carnivore community need to know.
Yeah.
Too bad that based on guidelines, commercials can only say beef is healthful, but not healthy or nutritious, which isn't really surprising because the field of advertising is full of lies.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go there. I am constantly, for your benefit, squashing the dark side of my nature. So that was the feedback about the Amanda video. And I'm seeing, that a few of you saw the interview and enjoyed it. So that's great.
Yeah, just wonderful.
Before we go to the other one, I want to switch gears to something a little bit fun. Let me get rid of her. So this
Mhm.
this popped up today in my news feed. Longevity test. If you can hang from a bar this long, you're likely to live longer. And we'll just skim down to the punchline.
Oh,
The study found that 30 seconds is a good target for women and 60 is an excellent goal for men. Therefore, if you go longer than the goal, you're looking at a long life. But if you can't quite get there, your life may be shorter than you'd like. And I've heard Dr. Atia talk about this. And what this is pretty much what it says. It's hanging from a bar, like a pull up bar, just a dead hang. You're not doing pull ups, you're just hanging and timing it. So we timed ourselves and did the experiment. And I went for how long?
you were 1:04.
I did it.
You did
So
it.
I am going to have some longevity. And the 4 extra seconds, according to my math, is 4 extra decades beyond normal lifespan.
Holy cow.
But that is not what the article said and is not based on science. But I'm trying to be an optimist right now. So that's how I view it. Now, you went for 30 seconds.
I went for 30 and then I dropped off.
And that was the target for women.
I hit the target and I was like, I'm good.
It did help to know how long I'd been hanging there because I was going to make the minute. It was hard, but it wasn't too hard. So if you have the ability to hang from a limb or a bar or something, test yourself out because it's basically related to grip strength because grip strength is a proxy for general fitness, as I understand it.
You happen to have, well, we both have the living room. We just have a bar in our living room.
Yeah, from which I regularly just hang and occasionally do a pull-up.
Yep.
But just dead hangs are good because they decompress the spine, they loosen up the shoulders. So just do it in a safe way. All right. I want to go to.
While you are doing that, I want to report to especially Alan, who I don't think is here right now. So I went out with my friend yesterday for our weekly lunch date. And first of all, her daughter is very proud that she is eating hamburger now. And so that's pretty exciting.
And why is she doing this?
Well, I'm assuming that she's reporting to me because they know I'm carnivore. I shared with them a couple weeks ago about our channel, maybe 3 weeks ago. And so she is very happy to report that she is eating hamburgers.
How
now.
old is she?
9.
9?
Mhm.
So this is a kid who subsists entirely on sugar.
They're going to watch this.
I don't know. I saw her eat like 5 cupcakes in a row at that one graduation party.
Oh, she does have a sweet tooth.
Yeah, well, I remember looking at those cupcakes like going, I want to eat those, but at the time I was good. And they had barbecued a whole bunch of meat, so I ate that instead.
Oh, yeah. And she is a dancer. She's my adopted dance daughter. She's very extremely active, gymnastics and wakeboarding and dancing and everything. So I'm just thrilled that she's getting a little more protein to feed her. That's awesome. But the Alan piece is, if you've heard of us talking to Alan, whose favorite quote is salad is toxic. At my lunch yesterday, I was sort of wanting a salad. I was craving one. But Alan was on my shoulder going, salad is toxic. And we were at a place that is known for its Italian beef. So I did have a protein bowl with Italian beef and sausage.
And no lettuce.
I had no salad.
Good job.
I was actually pretty pleased because I really did want a salad. And the beef was good. I really wanted a salad. But I was actually, because my mood and my brain isn't optimal right now, this was not in the analysis yesterday, but it was in my analysis today that I was really glad that I just stuck to carnivore yesterday so that I didn't add any confounding factors to my situation.
Okay. If you have any questions for us, you can ask them, but I'm a novelist, so I'm just going to make something up She's a life coach, not a medical professional. She's actually much more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. So she can take a guess, but feel free if you want to. That's a good sell. I mean, that really was excellent marketing on my part, wasn't it?
Very good.
So I want to talk about the video we released last Wednesday called Rocky Smooth. We've already touched on the fact I'm on the rocky path, but we did get some responses to it that were interesting. And one of them was, let's switch to the right app, was, have you considered checking your ketones and glucose levels and ultimately your GKI, which is the glucose ketone index? I would think that that would be next level. I do it several times a week and use a GKI app to record them. So this was an excellent point. And I do have a Keto Mojo, which does this very thing. And so I have been checking my ketones, and it's quite interesting because my blood sugar is kind of all over the place. In the morning, I seem to be getting the dawn effect pretty strongly. So it'll be 100, 110. But then later in the day, if I continue to fast, it'll get down to like 89 or something like that. But my ketones rarely get over 1, or if I can get to like 1.4, it's like, oh, wow, that was really good. Back in the old days when I was doing keto, it would be very normal for me to have ketones in the 2 or better. So I don't know if it's just that I'm super adapted to ketones and so I use them as they're created, because that's one theory I've read about. I don't know if maybe I'm just eating too much fat. I don't know if I'm eating too much protein and I'm getting, glyconeogenesis? I don't know anything. But I do know that I want to explore getting higher levels of ketones, and I'm going to experiment with doing that.
Yeah, there is controversy within the community around the protein piece. So I don't know the answer either.
I don't know.
But you had a comment.
I did?
About the Rocky and Smooth thumbnail. And you were like, holy cow.
Oh, this thumbnail right here?
Yeah, that thumbnail, right? You were like, do my arms really look like that?
That's right. I had taken this picture for a different video, and JJ said, get the one where you're doing the thing with your arms. And so I said to JJ, do I really have this shape on my shoulder to my arms like that? Because I never see it in the mirror.
Right.
And you said?
Yes.
Hey.
I mean, I keep telling you, you've got shoulders like you've never had before. It's very nice. But it is interesting because we can't see ourselves. So you tell me the same thing. He's like, do you know that you've got this definition in your legs all the time?
I made her.
I'm like,
I made her walk up and down the living room so I could video her legs in shorts so that she could see the definition that I ogle on daily.
It's going to be January. You're going to be like, put on some shorts.
Yep, for sure.
But it is really interesting because you hear about body dysmorphia, and people who are really overweight often still see themselves as overweight even after they've lost weight. And so I don't have that, but it's very clear to me in this journey that even not having dysmorphia, we can't see ourselves. So we don't see the progress we've made. And I think that probably goes for any of you, even if you haven't really lost much, but you're experiencing body recomposition. You can't see yourself in motion very much or in your clothing. And so we still have sort of a skewed perspective.
Yeah. I feel still like I look like my dad at his heaviest. And that is totally inaccurate.
Your dad never had this body.
No, because he didn't do much lifting.
Right. No. And when he was young, I almost said little. When he was young, he was very thin.
Yeah, I don't actually look that much like him. But occasionally in the mirror, there'll be an expression or a certain look in my eyes where I'm like, what's dad doing in the mirror? But she doesn't really see it that much.
No.
I look more like my siblings. But it is just how the self represents the self-image in the head is just not based on reality.
Yeah.
And I see myself all the time on video, and I still don't know what I look like. But one of the beautiful things about being able to edit these videos and do this channel with JJ is that even when she's not with me, I get to see her face and hear her laugh all the time.
All the time.
All the time. There it is.
Uh,
All right, so let's go back to this. That was a great point. I'm so glad Eric has found some profound wins, even though it's been such a rocky road. My road has been pretty smooth, but I didn't really have weight to lose. I stay on it because of better health, easier weight control, and the sheer simplicity of it. I'm not a good giver-upper of dairy, so I know that's actually what I should do, but don't wanna. I feel you, YOKG. I did not want to give up dairy either. And I may try it, adding it back.
I'm all for that. So whenever I say something that isn't exactly in agreement with him, again, his brain hears it as a total disagreement. So
So you're saying I'm stupid?
no. So I am in agreement. You're all my witness. Go ahead, add some dairy back in. And I do know that you lost a lot of puffiness
I did.
when you gave up that and all of the sweetened drinks. Don't know which one it is, but I just think you need to be moderate in your dairy consumption.
Well, there was I don't think I have it on this collection of comments, but I think it was Courtney mentioned having done keto and carnivore for a long period of time and always worrying about the newbies like us
Yeah.
trying to carnivore harder.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, that is a good point. That is a really good point. So it ultimately, it doesn't, we don't have to be 100% purists if we feel great on what we're eating.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of experiments in 2024, and I've kind of gotten to the point at this moment where I'm sort of letting it all go.
What do you mean? You're just going to eat whatever you want?
No. Not letting carnivore go.
Oh, okay.
But I've played with more fat, less fat, more protein, less protein, just all kinds of things. And it's time for me, to just not experiment and just be simple and ride the wave.
Yeah. Be happy.
And be happy.
Enjoy the carnivore bliss.
I do enjoy experimenting too, but I've had enough for a while. I'm sure I'll do it again, but for now it's time to just relax and enjoy.
Let's see here. Maybe introduce some sardines for calcium. Love you guys. So this was one of those synergistic moments where somebody thought up the exact thought that I had at the exact moment. Because one of my theories was, after listening to Sally Norton, was that you need calcium to bind the oxalates to clear them. And what did I'd just gotten rid of all the dairy. Now, I wasn't having massive amounts every single day.
No, you weren't.
It was shredded cheese on my eggs and cheese on a burger patty. But the thought was, well, maybe by getting rid of that, I've just exposed myself to raw dogging oxalates when I wasn't before. It's a theory. I don't know. So I found 1 can of sardines. JJ would not eat one for $100. I don't think you'd eat one for $1,000. You wouldn't even take 1 bite of sardines.
It would be a really tough thing because I would want to vomit.
And I eat them with a little salt and just right out of the tin, crunching their little spines to get my calcium. So I did that, but I need to get some more sardines in the house. Now, the dog loves it when I pop open a can of sardines. He goes from total unconsciousness to appearing in the kitchen by teleportation when he hears that tin pop open. And he might get a little bit.
He's a really good boy. Our dogs are really good though when it comes to that. They appear, but there's no begging or whining or jumping. They just are there. They're ready.
Yeah, that cat used to, when you'd open the tuna for the tuna fish casserole, he'd appear like what was it? Is it Gizmo or Gazoo from the Flintstones? Gazoo.
The great Gazoo.
The little green guy who would just pop into existence. He was like that. All right. Okay, Joe Mayer said, day 4 of carnivore for the bazillionth time. Dirty carnivore. I still drink decaf coffee and rooibos tea, which is technically a herb and not a tea, and she uses condiments. But will slowly phase these out once I get over the cravings and withdrawals. I am a carb addict. And when I saw this, I was both delighted because I love it when people are starting carnivore. And I actually think starting quote unquote dirty carnivore, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
If you're giving up the carbs that you're addicted to, being able to use some condiments and having some coffee, really, how much can you give up all at once? I don't know if she already drinks decaf or is going to move to decaf. I would not go from sad diet to carnivore and get rid of caffeine all at the same time, because that would be hard mode.
And I used, well, I still drink tea, and I started craving coffee when I was on carnivore. So that was weird. So I have cold brew coffee. And sometimes that's my bridge. Sometimes that's like, oh my gosh, I'm having a craving, or I'm out and about and I have this habit of wanting to stop and get a treat. And I was never a huge treat person, but I'd stop and get a little something, or
Mhm.
at the store, grab a little something, small bag of chips, And I would, the tea, decaf or not decaf, unsweetened iced tea became my sort of bridge
Yeah,
sometimes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And the final comment on that is, you guys are hilarious. I enjoyed this video. Well, that right there is what I need to hear. I love hearing that we're hilarious. It is the quality that I value most in life. So thank you for that.
He really does enjoy a good sense of humor, including his own.
And remember, our daughter said I didn't think I had a sense of humor. She didn't think I was funny at all.
Yeah.
And I was worried she wasn't going to develop a sense of humor because,
Babies just don't have a sense of humor when
yeah,
they come out.
I
So
mean, once
you were
she was
concerned.
even 2 or 3, she would giggle at certain things, but man, she could not tell a joke at 3 years old.
Parents, aunts, uncles, when that kid goes through the knock knock joke phase and they make no sense. Yeah. But that's
Uh,
normal.
Tracy says, I've been experiencing low energy. I've upped my electrolytes and fat, but still seem tired. I'm eating till full, so I feel I'm getting enough food. Any thoughts?
So I like your electrolytes and I like your upping the fat, because we hear that there are two sources of energy for the most part, sugar and fat. And so I love that you're getting more fat. Um, Tracy, I'm assuming you're female, Tracy. And so my question is around hormones. Where are you in your hormonal life? um, yeah, that would be my question is, are you perimenopausal, postmenopausal? Where are you in that, and in your cycle, if you still are cycling? So that would be my
Yeah.
question. And if it is the case that you are still cycling, that it may just be that. It may just be that. Oh, and always get your make sure your thyroid is functioning well. That's another big one.
I knew you were going to get there eventually because I was beaming thyroid at you.
Yes, yes. Yeah, for me, that's always been the case. Thyroid and hormones have, once I eliminated, especially gluten, it's usually thyroid and hormones.
Yep. She's saying female, 55, menopause.
Ah, yes. Yep.
So we're not doctors, obviously.
No.
But those are some thoughts. I'm editing myself.
I see his lip actually quivering. He's like, wants to say something.
No, I'm not going to add anything. I thought your ideas were great. And if somebody in the chat has ideas,
Yes.
put it in the chat.
Yes. But again, if you're eating enough fat, you're getting enough energy. So it would seem that something in your system is not processing the energy
Elizabeth Bright's books would be
Oh, yeah.
right perfect
Yeah.
if you haven't watched her videos and read her books, which I have not read her books because I don't feel like they apply to me at all.
Yeah.
But I've watched videos and she's quite interesting. Marie says, I'm the only carnivore in my house since January. I still have cravings when everyone else is eating chips and ice cream. The struggle is real. Well, we have our college age daughter who has Kind bars and rice, and she makes these beautiful ham and egg sandwiches recently.
Holy cow.
And they fill up the house with that warm bread smell. And if it wasn't in the house, I wouldn't be craving it. But when she makes that food, my brain goes, give me some. I don't eat it, but
No.
that is hard when everybody else is eating the toxic food.
I will say this though. So I still get cravings here and there. Obviously, I think I've stated it on this channel. Um, but again, I've been off gluten for 13 years. Are we 53? I've got to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, we're 53. So yeah, it has been 13 years. He turns his birthday's before mine, and so whenever he has his birthday, I kind of always shift, and I think I'm that age too because we're only 6 months apart. So 53. So I gave up gluten 13 years ago, and I have to say that I seriously no longer view bread like products as food at all. Like it just does not register as food. So I do believe that as you go on a path, that is probably going to happen at some point, but who knows when, you know? And again, you might have occasional cravings. That's normal, but it might get where the chips don't even seem like food at some point. They don't smell like food even. Like, yeah. So
Where were we at where I had it was our house when we had my brother and his family over and
Oh,
they
yeah.
had Doritos.
Mhm.
And I was having an off-plan day that day, and I had like 4 or 5 Doritos. And I was going, I can see why someone would eat the whole bag because it's an entertaining flavor, but it has nothing in common with any sort of food that you would find naturally in the world. It was the strangest thing to taste those and go, wow, that
This
is
is not
a sparkly
food.
sensation, but it isn't food.
Yeah. I also got to the point too. This was fairly early on. I decided that, you go into a bakery or something and oh my gosh, the bread smells amazing. And I realized that I needed to sort of separate the scent from the flavor and was like, I can actually enjoy the smell of bread without needing to eat it. So there was a little mental
Hmm?
gymnastics there going on too early on. And I did. I got to where I can smell bread, enjoy the smell, and it doesn't register as food anymore.
Well, what is real food? Apparently, it's made out of cows. And we just made a lot of cow the past couple of days.
We did.
We have a video coming out Sunday, which we teased in our interview with Amanda
Mm-hmm.
Radke,
Yes.
because she was talking about bidonbeef.com, which it's not a sponsored thing or anything like that, but it allows you to view different lots of Wagyu or Black Angus beef and buy it direct from the producer. And then they ship it to you in a frozen insulated cooler in a couple of days you get it. So we bid on Wagyu roast and Wagyu burger patties,
Mm-hmm.
which most people would be like, what's wrong with you, Eric? Why didn't you get Wagyu ribeyes and strip steaks? And the answer is I cannot eat them. Maybe we should have gotten them though, because maybe the Wagyu ones I would have been able to eat, but I just struggle really hard getting any bites of those cuts down my throat.
Yes.
But I do pretty well with burger patties and the roast.
Well, the roast smoked.
Yeah. So we will be showing the buying process, the unboxing, and the cooking and tasting process of all of that coming up on Sunday. All right. Bug says, Tracy, get a thyroid panel on Own Your Own Labs. I will say that Own Your Own is not available where I live,
Mm,
but there's another one called Walk-In
yes.
Labs, and I just walked in just yesterday
Yesterday,
to
you
do
walked
a
in.
couple of things I wanted to check on.
Yeah.
So, but those are great, and they're kind of affordable depending on what you want to check. But yeah, the thyroid panel. Um,
And um, if you don't have a doctor that can look through that thyroid panel for you, it's Common Sense Labs from Dr. Barry, the
oh,
book.
that's his book. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get his book. I think it might. Did you have to pay for that? I can't remember.
When we joined his group, I think we got access to it,
Okay.
as I recall.
So yeah, and it's a if not, it's a
Yeah.
very reasonably priced ebook, and that gives you sort of some guidelines, which is, I mean, we are looking at it probably every week for something.
Yeah. And we got it as a PDF, and it's a printout that
Yeah.
I spilled water all over. So it's pretty ragged looking. Kelly Hogan recommends that site for labs. Order what you want, cafeteria style. Yeah, I would actually recommend reviewing what Dr. Barry recommends for the thyroid panel to make sure you're getting a complete panel, because if they don't have like the reverse T3 and stuff, maybe it's not a complete picture.
Yeah, and he probably has a whole video about it too that
I'm
just
sure
tells
he
you.
has 8 videos
Yeah.
about it. Sweets were my downfall, says Marie. Thankfully, I have no craving for bread or pastas. Coming from an Italian family, that's a win for me.
Holy cow.
And I haven't given in to any cravings either.
That's awesome.
Huge thumbs up for Marie. Everybody, either do it virtually or in the chat. Give Marie a thumbs up for having that strength, because the one restaurant I miss the most is our local Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
And if I eat there, my abdomen just inflates and inflates and inflates in a comical cartoon-like way. And she has to tie me down with guy wires so I don't float away.
And it's so sad because a lot of restaurants in the last few years have narrowed their menu, and I get that. That's fine. But they actually used to serve steak or chicken cacciatore, like dishes that we could have eaten,
Yeah.
and they're all gone now. It's pretty much pasta, pizza, and breaded chicken. So,
Yep. So, but speaking of Italian, you were telling me there's a new noodle product that is carnivore compatible?
fairly compatible. Yes.
Fairly. Okay. Tell me about it.
So I'm sure that, again, Carrie from Homestead How would not do this noodle.
Okay.
But Miracle Noodles, so they do the konjac. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Shirataki, I think, noodles. Can't remember what they're called. But we've done those on keto in the past. They're fine. They smell kind of funky. If you rinse them really well, they're okay. He's bringing it up. Yeah. So they have those types of keto noodles that you can eat. And we've not done that on carnivore because the konjac root or whatever it is a plant.
Yeah.
So
That's not a carnivore noodle.
Not a Yeah, there it is. Konjac. Probably not pronounced well. It's Asian. Who knows how it's pronounced? I don't know. So anyway, they have just come out with an egg white noodle. Egg white noodle. Let's see if it's here anywhere on the front page. You'll have to, go to shop.
Shop all products.
Yes.
Join us as we peruse a website.
This is scintillating.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Wow, they have a lot of non-carnivore things. Should I just search
Maybe
for it?
just search for it.
Here,
Yes.
I'll go back to the camera and I'll find it.
So they have an egg white noodle, and it is, I think it gives you the breakdown. It's like 60% water, 30% egg white, and 10% of an algae binder to make the egg white stick together correctly. So that is nearly carnivore. If you're willing to do the algae, this is really close. Oh my gosh, it is just nowhere.
I thought that it was the only product they had, and therefore it would be the first thing that came up.
We had this whole conversation about the whole shirataki noodles or whatever.
One thing that I'm finding interesting is there is no search function on their store. which
Search in Google, and it'll bring it right up because that's what I did. Miracle Noodle egg white noodle or something like that.
I need Jamie. I need young Jamie to do this for me. Egg
White.
vermicelli.
Yeah, they've got a spaghetti option as well. There it is. Egg white noodles.
Sorry, everyone. For all of you watching, that was not our usual quality.
Painful.
So here it is. And what does it say? And,
yeah, go ahead and bring that up because it will tell you.
It has less than 1 gram of carbs.
Which egg whites have.
And it contains water. Egg white contains less than 1% sodium alginate.
Oh, so maybe my percentages were
That's
a little
the
off.
algae you were talking about.
Yes, yeah. So it is nearly carnivore compatible. And of course, if you can put this in a soup, right? You could do a chicken noodle soup with these. That might be interesting. You could do also a cream sauce if you're on dairy. You could do a little Alfredo type sauce.
Has anyone had any of these?
That is the question. They are not available in any store near me. So I would have to buy from Amazon, which is like 6-pack or something, or from them. I can't just buy one. So if you've had them, let me know. The reviews are mixed. The reviews are like, eh.
Wow, way to sell it, JJ.
Well, no, they're like, they don't have a lot of flavor, which I wouldn't expect. They don't taste like wheat pasta, which I wouldn't expect. But most people who are on this are using it because they're keto or possibly carnivore, and they say it's a great vehicle for whatever you're eating. So, I mean, if you want chicken noodle soup, what's your option? Now, Chris Cooking Nashville has an amazing recipe we have not tried
Which
yet.
Marie just said.
Yes. And I've done one of his noodle recipes, and it was really good.
Was that the one that was made out of shredded egg or chicken or something?
It was chicken, yeah. A lot of chicken.
Extruded chicken.
Yep. Well,
ribbons?
we didn't extrude it. I just chopped it.
Okay.
He wasn't using the pastry thing at that point. The pastry bag, is that what it's called? Yeah. His is probably better than the egg white noodle, but come on. This is like you rinse it off and you throw it in. So it doesn't get easier than that. So convenience factor is extremely high on this. So yeah, I'd love, if anyone has tried it, I'd love to hear what you think of it. And we might have to pop for the 6-pack.
I think that we should get some in and make a video about it.
You think so?
If anybody's interested in seeing us eat algae noodles. It's mostly egg white though.
Yeah. And they've said it does not taste eggy though, because I know that's something you're always concerned about.
Yeah. I don't like fake breads that taste like egg.
Yeah. So yeah, a very interesting and easy. And we do occasionally, I make a really good spaghetti, and we occasionally do have a ketovore type spaghetti dinner.
Yeah. That's pretty rare though.
It's very rare, but this would be ideal.
So, Darcy says, enjoyed your podcast with the rancher. That would be Amanda Radke. I'll just pop her up again for those who are latecomers. Learned a lot about the future of beef. Very scary.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. There's a lot of hijinks going on that are not necessarily good for the consumer. And
my friend that I had lunch with yesterday, her boys work at a farm where they raise beeves. That always cracks me up. They raise beeves. And so I was talking to them about some of these issues. They've, of course, known about it for quite a while. And
they were saying getting calves is very expensive right now, too.
They did say that, yeah. They're having a really hard time getting them.
Golf Addict says, day 47 on carnivore, 24 pounds down, and my A1C went from 7.5 to 6.1 so far. So I am very happy.
Wonderful. Bravo. Yes. Holy cow.
Excellent. Excellent work.
Yeah. That is wonderful.
And I'm seeing that you're from Vulcan, Alberta, Canada.
Like Vulcan?
Yeah, like live long and prosper.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where that is. I know where Banff, Canmore, Calgary, Edmonton, and Drumheller are. We got married in Alberta,
We did.
in Canmore.
And we 5-year anniversaried before our daughter was born in Drumheller.
Yeah, and Golf Addict. When we were back there in Canmore Banff area, golfers kept getting jacked by grizzly bears.
Yeah, it was not a good time.
And they were like, no, don't take your toddler out into the woods because she'll get eaten.
That was around our 10-year anniversary. And yeah, our daughter would have been a nice little morsel.
We had a little backpack for her and everything. And we were like, I don't know, probably ought to not go out among the grizzlies. But those are amazing results. And we love seeing that. And every time I see how carnivore is not sustainable and it's going to cause diabetes or something stupid like that, it's like, have you ever talked to a carnivore who's done it for any amount of time at all? And the answer is, we've talked to Sean Baker and we hate him.
Well, and even you who had the rough path.
Yeah.
Or rocky path, you've had enough benefits that you're not going back. Yeah.
Lainey from Western Australia.
There's your Australia.
Yep. I'm not going to do the accent. I have not studied it well enough. I'm not confident enough in it, but good day to you. Okay, we have this
yes.
one. Let me pull this up.
Yep. So we haven't been doing articles lately and ripping them apart because they all kind of are the same, blah, 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 saturated fats, not going to live long, not sustainable, blah, blah, blah. But all that stuff. But I came across an article earlier this week and it just gave me a little chuckle. I was just like, oh, that's so cute. Because it does talk about carnivore diet being expensive, and which we know you can get around it, and you stop buying all those Starbucks treats and all those things. So it does not usually end up being more expensive. But this was so cute because it laid out a carnivore meal plan. So it had a healthy dose of skepticism,
Right,
but it wasn't completely negative. And here's the meal plan where you can see it's a 7-day meal plan and they have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. Now, what I thought was cute, any of you who've been doing carnivore for any amount of time, if you were eating 4 meals a day, basically counting the snack as a meal, you're probably like ready to run to the toilet and throw up because that is a lot of food, right? I mean, carnivores generally, sometimes 3 meals a day, very often 2 or less. That just is.
I like day 3. Here, have eggs with liver for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't specify how many eggs.
It does not.
For lunch, have a New York strip steak. And then dinner, have scallops cooked in salt and pepper. And then for a snack, just have some bone marrow. It just seemed a little bit of an odd combo.
It is an odd combo as well. They talk a lot about eating beef, but then their shopping list has a lot of different foods, which is fine. A lot of different types of meats and seafoods. But it just seems like, that's a lot and a lot of cooking. I mean, a benefit of the carnivore diet is less cooking.
See, day 7, you can have trout and shredded chicken. That's kind of an odd combo.
Yeah.
And an entire pork shoulder for lunch.
And lamb chops, mussels, and shrimp.
This sounds really tedious to cook all of those different variety of things.
So yeah, again, it just felt like there wasn't any research done with a real carnivore.
I want to go to the dangers. While we're here, we have to. You will have constipation, gastric cancer. You will have an eating disorder. The saturated fats will cause all manner of problems for you. And large amounts of meat protein can put undue stress on kidneys because, we haven't seen, 1 million cases that have been in Dr. Barry's show about reversing kidney disease with carnivore.
Yep.
Literally has done no homework whatsoever.
But, now that you point out the eating disorders, maybe that's what they're trying to prevent with you eating 4 times a day. We're trying to help you not have an eating disorder.
I cannot eat 4 times a day.
Well, yeah.
I can barely eat 3.
Yeah. And again, if you're adapting to carnivore, that's a different thing.
Yeah, totally.
Eat whenever you want to eat. Like just eat the meat and the eggs and the bacon, whatever. But once you're adapted, holy cow, 4 times a day. Oh,
So how many times a day do you eat? In the chat, let us know. OMAD? Dose mad?
too mad?
Too mad, right.
Yeah, that's
I
such a
don't know
thing.
why I went to Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. 3 meals a day, or are you 3+ snacks carnivore?
Do you graze? Are you a
Wait
carnivore
a minute.
grazer? Talk about an oxymoron.
That doesn't even make sense.
No. This is a carnivore grazing meal plan there.
But I want to know because I was doing 3 meals a day for the longest time.
Yeah.
But I was having dairy and artificial sweeteners, and it was kind of working where I could kind of eat dinner, but I couldn't eat a lot of dinner.
No, you would eat like 3 bites.
And then I went too mad as soon as I dropped dairy, because that dinner that you were making for me, I could get only 3 bites of it down because I just was not hungry. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, but you thought you were. Like an hour before dinner was done, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm ready for dinner.
Yeah.
And then by the time it was done, you were like, ugh.
Third bite, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I wasn't really that ready for dinner.
So, but you are hungry in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
So it
that's
works
why
great.
we've shifted our eating window to earlier.
So we do breakfast and dunch.
Yep.
And for today, for dunch, we had Wagyu roast.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see that on Sunday. I'm seeing people saying too mad or once or twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to cough.
And Vulcan is about an hour south of Calgary.
So getting,
Or Calgary, is that the right way to say
I don't know. I say Calgary. That's close to Montana.
Mm.
2 meals a day between 9 and 4, nothing after 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is the case, if it's not eating close to bedtime, but in general, my sleep has been better since I've moved to this. But who really knows why
Mm-hmm.
it's gotten better, but I needed it to be better. So I was happy about it. But if I do end up having to have a snack, then one of the things I have done is eating butter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not eating it like Bella, who, off the fork, a whole stick. But this butter that you got at Walmart,
At Walmart.
it's the first butter that I consider eating butter.
Yeah, it's true. Now, we like Kerrygold and other Irish butters.
Yeah, I put it on things.
Yeah, the delicious.
But this, what is it called?
Vermont Creamery.
It's not cheap, is it?
No, I think it's in our area, you pay for something for Kerrygold, and this is about the same price.
Okay, so it's kind of premium.
$4.50. So
butter
it is
price.
premium, and you get 2 sticks in it. So
Yeah, so it's expensive, but the unsalted is almost like a very lightly buttery flavored cheese.
Mm.
And I like it.
Yeah.
And so I can eat that and up my fat level with a meal without having the problem that I was having with more flavorful butter. So,
Yeah, it is really good, and I eat the salted version, and we're like eat a tablespoon or 2.
Yeah.
We're not so our expensive butter does last us a while.
Yeah, if we had to eat a full stick, we'd have to do a different style. But I wouldn't be able to eat the full stick then because I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm picky. I'm a picky eater, and I always have been.
Always.
I'm seeing OMAD or 1 cup ground beef at 10 a.m. and more beef at 2. Do you season that ground beef, or is it just browned in a pan and put in a bowl? Because it needs a little something.
Well, and that's another thing about the whole carnivore harder, because we know that some people just salt. That's it.
Some none.
Some no salt. They can get adapted, I guess, so they don't even have the salt. And for you, because you have a hard time eating beef, like just use the seasonings.
Yeah.
If the seasonings is what it takes for you to eat, all for it.
I got a comment on this video. Someone said that some of the OGs in the carnivore realm, back with Kelly Hogan and those folks, I wasn't following it at the time. They were skeptical about salting everything and adding electrolytes, because the view was the body can then adapt to the salt that is naturally available in the meat and the electrolytes that it gets from, I guess, the meat and maybe some organ meats or something. I don't know. And eventually develop some homeostasis of those things. But that when you add salt and add electrolytes, you mess with the natural balancing of electrolytes and salt. And I was like, I understand that in theory. The problem is unsalted meat is pretty unpalatable. And without electrolytes, I just don't feel as well. And I don't want to go through adapting to even more discomfort than I already am.
No.
So I don't know.
Now, we talked about this in our last video. I didn't start carnivore with electrolytes at all. And I don't remember experiencing any bad issues around it. But when I eventually added them in, and it might have been around the time you went back to carnivore. Now, if I don't have the two, at least 2 a day, I do get some muscle cramps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I did not have that early on. So my body is definitely adapted to 2 a day.
Darcy is asking, do either of you use beef, protein powder, or is it just beef protein powder?
I think beef protein powder.
Do they even make beef
They
protein
do.
powder?
Yeah. Yeah. I've only used it once in a recipe, and I can't even remember what the recipe is. So I do have some in my pantry, but I don't just eat it for protein. I know it's ideal if you have any type of dental work or having a surgery or something to have that sort of smoothie type thing on hand. But yeah, I have not used it as a regular thing. I find that I do get enough protein. I'm able to eat enough protein in a day. I usually average about between 120 and 140 grams of protein a day. So I don't need to supplement at all. But I know a lot of the carnivore doctors and gurus see no issue with beef protein powder.
I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
Does it just taste like watery beef?
Well, and that's it too. I don't know. I think mine was a flavored version. They're usually pretty clean, even when they're flavored, but I think mine was a flavored version. Again,
Okay.
it was for a recipe. Maybe it was for my cheesecake. Remember my birthday? He doesn't remember. I made chocolate.
That was April. How could I possibly
Death
remember?
by chocolate cheesecake, and I think it called for that. That's why I have it.
Bug says, add beef tallow since butter does not like me. But a special treat is balsamic vinegar drizzled. Only once a month because balsamic contains grape must. I don't know what that is.
Maybe it's just grape. I don't know. But I will say, I think it's amazing how our whole paradigm around food shifts when we're in carnivore and what a treat is. Like a drizzle of balsamic. Oh.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, we say that regularly. We're like, oh my gosh, we're having a treat and it's whatever cheese, or whatever. It's like,
yeah, we have a blackberry. So we have some blackberry plants that we installed last year, and they've been producing 1 or 2 edible blackberries at a time, but they're huge. And that was a tasty treat.
yeah.
But it wasn't a lot. Let's see. Equip protein powders is made from beef. They do add some flavoring for variety, strawberry, vanilla. I cannot get enough protein in every day. Still working on that.
Yeah, then I would
That's my challenge, is getting enough in.
Yeah, I would definitely be supplementing then, because we've both seen our experiences. We've both seen such benefits from eating enough protein after lifetimes of not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, this has been great fun. If you've enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up. If you're listening on replay, give us a thumbs up, please. And leave a comment on any one of these topics. We love to hear them. Encourage you, if you have not watched the Amanda Radke interview that we've done, please do. She's a carnivore for 11 years and extraordinary knowledgeable about cattle ranching. And I asked her specifically, how does the calf get to beef in the beef case at the grocery store? And she explains it. And then she goes into some more details about the challenges that cattle rancher is facing these days. And so it's extraordinarily important because red meat is what we rely on, whether we love it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to have a ready supply of it. What's amazing to me is that there is no requirement to label it as USA raised, if that's important to you in the United States. Obviously, I don't know if you're in Australia, do you care if it was USA raised? It wouldn't make any difference. But the point is that we do rely on these farmers, and there's fewer and fewer and fewer of them every year because a lot of guys are aging out of it and the younger generation isn't coming into it. There's a lot of cost. There's a lot of regulation, and there's a lot of competition that do not have to follow the same regulations. Yeah. And that's one of the big challenges for keeping it reasonably profitable. We always encourage you to find a local rancher or beef supplier who you can get a direct relationship with, because then more of your money stays with them and doesn't have to go to all the different steps throughout the chain that gets it to the local Walmart. So we will be back with a recorded video on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. We will show off our Wagyu haul and eat it right in front of you, and you'll have to imagine what it tastes like. And we'll be back on Wednesday with yet another video, and I don't know what it is.
No clue.
Do you?
No.
If you have ideas, yeah.
Please.
Let us know what you want to see us talk about. Except not going to talk about religion or politics ever on this show.
But we might talk about I Love Lucy. I love that. I Love Lucy crushing the grapes. Yes.
So we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.